So my first leadership tip would be is to really know yourself and really understand what is your heart's desire. Like what is the thing you like when you let your mind wander or when you daydream, what is the thing that really drives you? What is the thing that like your biggest vision of yourself?
Hey everybody, it's the Leadership Loading Podcast. I'm Jason McClaren, and my guest today is Gayle Walker. Hey Gayle, welcome to the show.
Hi Jason, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So Gayle, let's start off. Tell me about what led you to join the military.
Well, I feel like I've been in the military since I was 2 years old. My dad was a proud Vietnam veteran, Army veteran. And so I grew up under this kind of military style of training, making your bed every day and being disciplined and accountable and all of that good stuff. So when I joined high school, it just felt really natural to join Army ROTC and then from Army ROTC, explore opportunities in the military. And so that's kind of my pathway into the military.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I didn't know my dad growing up, but I did the ROTC or JROTC thing, and
Yeah.
then I did 2 years, freshman, sophomore, and then my last couple high schools didn't have JROTC, so I didn't do it then. But at least I got 2 years under my belt, and then I enlisted after high school, so that kind of worked out for me. What did you do when you were in the military?
Yeah. So I served as a Navy nurse for 21 years. And so really, really enjoyed that. And actually, when I went to college, I had a traditional Navy scholarship. And at the time, they opened up Navy nursing scholarships for the first time. So I transferred over because I've always had an interest in health sciences and was one of the first group of nurses to graduate from ROTC.
So did you do college first, then the military?
Actually, I started out enlisted. I graduated from high school, joined the Navy right after 3 days after graduating from high school, and went to Orlando back when Orlando was a boot camp site, and then was able to join a scholarship program called Boost at the time, and from there went to college to Army. I mean, excuse me, went to Navy ROTC.
That's cool. That's an interesting arc there. Like, most people do either enlist, then go to college, or so yeah, that's a interesting way you did it there.
Oh yeah. And it really served me well having all of these different experience, having the boot camp enlisted experience, having the ROTC experience, and then being able to serve as a commissioned officer. So gave me lots of really good perspective.
Are all the nurses in the Navy officers?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Oh yeah,
We
because I guess you have that college background
yes,
to do that.
yeah.
So
We all graduate with bachelor's of science in nursing.
right.
Yeah,
That's a good deal. I just did the firefighter thing, so I always tell people take advantage of your college stuff while you're in the military.
absolutely.
I think one thing that held me back was they wouldn't let me take one class at a time, and at that time I was gung ho and wanting to just knock out a bunch of classes.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, I'll do it later. And then I got out, and then I just had to use my JAB bill, which was still good, but it would have been a lot nicer to do it while I was in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially if you have the opportunity to do it, while on an operational assignment or overseas. I mean, it's amazing how quickly you get those classes done. And then before you know it, you have an associate's. And then before you know it, you have a bachelor's. It goes by fast, but you definitely have to get started.
And how long did you serve altogether?
Altogether, 21 years.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
some change.
what's that?
And some change.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So you retired, I'm guessing.
I am. I retired and I can't believe it's been 10 years. So I retired in 2015.
All right.
Yeah,
And so you retired and you started your own company. And
I
what are you
did.
doing now?
Yeah. So well, first I took a sabbatical. So many people told me take time off. So I was committed to taking 3 months off. 3 months turned into 6 months, turned into a year, turned into 18 months. And during that time, I had a friend who needed help. She was actually stationed in Spain, and I had previously been stationed in Spain, and she needed help with her newborn for 3 months. And so I spent time with her for 3 months, taking care of her, taking care of her baby. I thought of it like an operational assignment. I'm like, okay, you had me for 3 months and supported her. And out of that experience, I'm like, man, I really, really loved taking care of my friend and taking care of her baby. And what I didn't realize, a lot of the work that I was doing um, was the same work that is known as serving as a postpartum doula. So I came back to the States wanting to do more of this work, found out about postpartum doulas, trained and got certified as a postpartum doula, and just continued to do this work. And over time, I'm like, man, working with families in their homes has been really special to me. And I'm like, something's really happening. And so I worked with a friend of mine who is a branding consultant, and we came up with the name Life Doula. And it's really about, we get help when we're birthing or sick or hospitalized or dying, but for the life in the middle, we don't think to get care and help for those times. And it's the biggest chunk of our life. And so I named it Life Doula, and it's meant to get the doula loving care and support when you're on your feet.
Yeah, so I guess for the lay person, what's a doula? I mean, you kind of explain like
Sure.
how far can you guys go as a doula as far as
Yeah.
help?
So the education certification for a doula is a lot of hands-on practical experience, and it's a certification. And doula has become more mainstream. So oftentimes people will know of a birth doula, which is an advocate for the birthing mother while she's in the hospital preparing to deliver the baby. So there are birth doulas that provide hands-on support, advocacy, and encouragement. Then there are postpartum doulas, and the postpartum period is 3 months after the family comes home with baby. So a postpartum doula is meant to provide support to the family so that they can focus on the baby. So we provide all this external support to encourage, support, and demonstrate care for the baby. And that's typically a 3 month period. Then you leap to the other end of the lifespan, and there are death doulas, and those are people who support a family or support a person during their end of life. And so they support people with that transition, that death transition, to make it easier and provide caring support to people in that phase of life or end of life.
Is it are doulas usually nurses or have some kind of clinical background or do they?
A lot of nurses do become doulas, but the main thing is someone who has a heart's desire to be a caring person to support families in their homes during these different phases of life. So oftentimes you will see nurses, first responders, people who just love children and love supporting families. Those are the kinds of people that are drawn, lactation specialists, mother baby. People are associated with mother baby, but anyone who has a heart for caring for people in these different phases of life.
That's awesome. So how
Yeah.
did your military experience help you start this business and do what
Oh,
you're doing now?
yeah. Well, I think this work really is truly a calling, and I had ignored it for a really long time. And something told me that I really want to do more to serve more people. I think my military experience and just growing up in a home where, we're taught to, serve others, really inspired me to do this work. I think the other thing is all of the leadership training and experiences that I've had through in the military gave me the courage to do this. And I'm like, in the military, we're thrown into a lot of different scenarios that we don't know what to do, but we figure it out. We say, I don't know, but I'll find out. And I just figured the one thing I know is that I love families, I love women and children. And so I'm going to figure this out. And so my military experience has served me well in learning the things that I don't know.
Yeah, I like your take there on being able to just solve problems as veterans. I know I did that myself when I got out of the military. I thought I'm going to be a firefighter. That's what I did in the military. That's what I'm going to do when I get out. Didn't work out that way, but I was able to leverage my skills into the safety profession.
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely if you're a military veteran or a first responder even, you have those skills to kind of pivot and change. And a lot of the things you do in your professional career are relatable to private sector careers. So yeah, definitely ways you can use those skills.
I like what you said because a lot of times people think it's a one-for-one transfer. So if I was a mechanic, I should be a mechanic on the outside. If I was a nurse, I should be a nurse on the outside. And that's not true. Like all of our skills that we learn in the military, the teamwork, the accountability, responsibility, driving forward, focusing on the mission, all of those things are the building blocks for doing great things no matter what industry. So all of our military skills are transferable. And I think a lot of times, and even we forget that.
All right. What's been the biggest hurdle you've had starting your business so far?
I would say the biggest hurdle is the finances, like having enough cash flow to expand it quickly. That I think has been the biggest challenge. The second challenge, I know you said the biggest, but aside from the finances, I think the biggest challenge is mindset. And it goes back to what we just talked about. I was thinking like, oh, I'm a new entrepreneur, so I'm a newbie. I don't know anything. And that was, furthest from the truth. I do know a lot of things. I've done leadership. I've taught leadership. I was a recruiter in the Navy. I know how to do a lot of things. And most importantly, I know how to do things and figure out things that I don't know how to do. So this is the perfect opportunity to leverage my skills. And so I had to really shift my mindset and say, Gayle, you can do this. Like, just because it's not nursing doesn't mean you can't do it. So mindset was the second biggest hurdle.
Yeah, I think both those are big hurdles at the beginning. And then once you figure that out, for depending on what your industry is, you can really excel and go forward. We've got several other episodes about those two exact things, financing your business and then mindset. So definitely check those out. If you guys, if you're listening, you can check it out and get some more information there.
Absolutely.
So Gayle, what's your one leadership tip? So say you run into someone wanting to start their own business or just getting out of the military and wanting to get in the private sector, what would your leadership tip be?
Yeah. So my first leadership tip is to really know yourself and really understand what is your heart's desire. Like, what is the thing like when you let your mind wander or when you daydream, what is the thing that really drives you? What is the thing that, like, your biggest vision of yourself? So if it's being on stage, if it's leading a team, like really tap into that. And oftentimes you need to be well rested, take some time off and take a break to really tap into that, like that deep, deep desire. Because we'll go to the thing that's comfortable.
Yeah, I think, people see, if they've already figured out, hey, I'm not going to do what I did in the military or whatever, they see these like jobs out in the private sector and they think, oh, I'll just jump to that. Like you said, maybe that's not their passion. They're not going to excel at that. And they fail and then you end up, sometimes in a bad place, and you don't want to do that. So yeah, definitely find something that you're going to have a passion for, and then you can excel and move forward.
Yeah. And sometimes people jump to that thing that's comfortable and they really excel at it, but it's not the most satisfying, purpose-driven work that they want to do. So it goes both ways. And I think succeeding at something you don't like is also very misleading, because you're like, man, I'm doing well, I'm making money, but something inside of you is like, but this isn't it.
Yeah, 100%. Right after I got out of the military, I was selling fire extinguishers and thought, it was just something to do to make ends meet. But yeah, I knew that wasn't going to be my end all, but I could have just stayed there.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm definitely not a salesperson. So. Yeah. All right. Well, Gayle, how can people reach out to you guys if they want to get in touch or learn more about what you guys are doing over there?
Definitely. So my handle is called My Life Doula. So at My Life Doula, search for that on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You'll be able to find me. My company name is Life Doula Inc. www.lifedoulainc.com is my website, and that's where you can find me.
Awesome. We'll put all those links in the show notes below. Everybody can reach out to you there.
Thank you.
Gayle, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you, Jason. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, everybody. This episode of the Leadership Learning Podcast was brought to you by Go Heroes Inc., goheroes.org. If you'd like to be a sponsor, go ahead and check out our website or email us, and we'll get you all the information you need.
There are thousands of leadership and management podcasts to choose from. We're glad you chose the Leadership Loading Podcast, a Go Heroes production. If you'd like to support Go Heroes Inc., visit www.goheroes.org. And with that, it's time to wrap up today's show. Thank you so much for listening. We sincerely hope you liked it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your family and friends. Let's all grow together. Thanks for listening to the Leadership Loading Podcast. Leadership in